This video is going to explain how we name the lines and spaces of the bass clef. The bass clef, like the treble clef, is made up of a staff. So the staff is all of this together. We call that a music staff. A staff has 5 lines, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in between we have 4 spaces. The bass clef looks quite a bit different than a treble clef. The bass clef has a dot on that line, comes up, down, and then on these 2 spaces we put 2 dots. This clef used to be known as the F clef because the 2 dots here surround the line F, and this larger dot is on the line F, so it was called the F clef. And it looked like an old-fashioned F. Okay, and then last thing up here, of course, we have our music alphabet. Music alphabet only uses the first 7 letters of the English alphabet. And then it just keeps repeating. So once we get after G, it just starts over again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The lines on the staff are named as follows. The very bottom line is G. Put that right on the line. The next line is a B. Third line up is D. Then F. And then A. Some of you, if you've taken piano or maybe in elementary school, one of the sayings that students can use to remember this is good boys deserve fudge always. That's one saying. You can feel free to make up another one, but those are the names of the lines on the staff. In this slide, we're going to show you the names of the spaces. The spaces start off. The bottom space is an A, followed by a C, followed by an E, and followed by a G. And one of the common sayings students use to remember this one is all cows eat grass. So again, feel free to make up something else, but those are the names of the spaces on the staff. In this slide, we see the letters of the lines and spaces put all together. We have the lines in blue and the spaces in red. Now, one thing you might notice is that the letters will repeat themselves. So we have a G here and a G here, an A here and an A up here. Basically what happens, these notes that are lower on the staff, they're going to sound really low. And then as we go higher up on the staff, the sounds get really, really up high, way up high. So anything that's up here on the staff is going to sound higher than something down here. So even though we can have more than one G or more than one A, this A is going to sound higher than this A, and this G is going to sound higher than this G. Now, the other thing I want to point out is how the alphabet goes forwards and backwards on a staff. So if I draw the alphabet up here, you can use this rule to sort of figure out any notes that you don't know on the staff. So if you come across a note in your music you've never seen before, this is how you figure out the letter names. So on the music staff, I'd like to point out that as the notes go higher on the staff, so as we go up on the staff on this direction, the letters just go forward in the alphabet. So in other words, right, we have A followed by B, C, it just goes up by the alphabet. So after this A up here, we would have a B, and then it would go C, D. It would just keep following the alphabet. Now if we go this way, if we go down in our staff, then we go backwards in the alphabet. Okay? So as you can see, if we go down on the staff, right, if I start at a G, you know, the letter before G in the alphabet is F, then E. We just go backwards in the alphabet. So if I was to go lower than this G, the letter before G in the alphabet is F, so below down here would be an F. In the next slide, we'll explain what we do with notes above and below the staff. Okay, so once again, I have the lines and spaces labeled on the staff, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to draw some notes as we go higher on the staff. Now, one of the things that we do is right here, I'm going to draw a note above this line, so this would be considered a space. And as we go higher or lower on a staff, we can go ahead and add lines as we need them. I'm going to add a line there. I'm going to add another line, and that would be considered on a space. Now, if I go over here, I'm going to go below the staff. So I'm going to write a note here, which would be on a space because it's a line, and then I'm going to have to draw another line. Right, and I'm going to draw that line again for a note below. Okay, so I have 3 notes above, 3 notes below. Now, if we continue, if I go ahead and I draw our music alphabet again, right, so here we go, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And if we remember that if we go higher on the staff, we're going to go this way in our alphabet, and if I go lower on the staff, I'm going to go this way. We can figure out our letter names. So let's go ahead and do that. So after the note A up here, what letter would come after A in the alphabet if we're just going up to the next space, the note right after A? Well, after A, of course, we have B, and what note comes after B? C. And what note comes after C? D. So those would be the letter names of the 3 notes above the staff, and we just follow our alphabet pattern going A, B, C, D, and it would go E, F, G, and so on back to A. Now if we go back down here below the staff, my last note is a G. So what letter, we have a G up on our alphabet here, what letter comes before G? Well, F, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and draw an F, and then what letter would come before F? E. And what letter comes before E? D. As you can see, we've figured out the letter names for 3 notes above and 3 notes below the staff. Okay, we're going to see what you remember now about the names of the spaces on the bass clef. To begin, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to draw notes on the 4 spaces here. Okay, and I'd like you just to take a few seconds here and see if you can name these spaces. You might want to pause the video to give yourself a little bit more time. Okay, so the first note is going to be a C. The second note is an A. The third note is G, and the last note is E. And again, just remember to view our, from the bottom up to the top, the names of the spaces are all cows eat grass. On this slide, we're going to see how much you remember about the names of the lines on the staff. So once again, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to draw the notes in here, putting them out of order here. Alright, I'm going to give you a few seconds here to see if you can remember the letter names of the notes. Again, you might want to stop the video. Okay, so the names of the notes are, the first one is D, next one is B, F, A, and then G. And remember, our saying for remembering the notes right from the bottom line would be good boys deserve fudge always. And again, all of these sayings always work from the lowest line or space up to the top. Okay, So in this one, I'm going to mix up the lines and the spaces, and we'll see how well we can remember those ones. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw some notes in here. And we'll do that one. Okay, so again, I'll give you a few seconds. Go ahead. Okay, so the first one is a G, followed by an E, A, B, D, and then the next one, actually ran out of letters here, is A, and the last one is F. So there we go. If you didn't quite get all of them, don't worry about it. It just takes practice. Practice reading the letter names, in your music, or just drawing a staff and randomly putting the notes on and trying to name them that way. You can always write the alphabet, the 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, on top, and remember to go forward when we go higher on the staff and backwards when we go lower. Okay, so now we're going to see how well we remember the names of the notes above and below the staff. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw in 3 notes above, and I'm also going to do 3 notes below. And to give us a reference point to do this, I'm going to put in the bottom line of the staff, which is G, as well as the top line, A. And remember that when we go higher on the staff, we're going to go forward in the alphabet, and when we go lower on the staff, we got to go backwards in our alphabet. So let's start with the A, and let's figure out what note comes after A. So if we're going to go forwards in the alphabet, what would these next 3 notes here be? Give you a few seconds to figure it out. Okay, so after A, the letter that comes after A in the alphabet is B, the letter that comes after B is C, and then D. And if you got those, you were correct. Now we're going to focus on going lower on the staff. So we have a G here, so now I need you to figure out what those 3 notes would be. I'll give you again a few seconds to figure it out. Alright, so for this note right here, we need to figure out what letter comes before G in the alphabet, and that would be an F, and before F is an E, and before E is a D. And there you have the names of the notes above and below the staff. So again, if you're having trouble with this, just keep practicing it, and just make it a habit of naming the notes that you have to play in your music, and if you do that, you will learn this. Thanks for watching, and feel free to watch this as many times as you need to.